a division floated in the bloody waters of World War II. Once a submarine swimming far below the zipping gunfire and bulbous explosions, now an ironclad sturdy in its position atop the ocean. Its anchor, a heavy, dense curtain separating the opposing ideals in acclaimed Germany, claimed by the previous allies, now opponents, in the race for political stability and dominance. On a macro view, West Germany was under capitalist rule, East Germany under communist rule. In this Cold War, Germany consisted of two different worlds. And then there was Sweden. It isn't fair to point out Sweden as a whole, rather. A prominent Swedish company, Ingvar Kamprad Elmträd Agunrad, or IKEA. The founder can be seen in the first two letters of the acronym, where he was raised in the second two. Ingvar was 17 years old when he embarked on the venture to sell small
things like picture frames
or pens through mail. This, of course, elevated to the massive do-it-yourself furniture department that we are more well versed with today. But that is besides the point. The point is not what IKEA is, it is how IKEA and other similar companies bypass morality for success, which turns to power. A story as old as time. And with the general topic of overwhelming greed, I think it is beneficial to put a spotlight on East German labor camps and IKEA's connection. For background, we need to understand why labor camps were implemented by the Stasi under the Socialist Unity Party in East Germany. Well, when the Iron Curtain descended, separating the East Bloc from the West, the whole of the East, from Soviet to European, knew how dangerous rebellion was, even through nonviolent displays like speech or protest. Officials captured political prisoners and just regular criminals into labor camps to quiet dissent while peddling the economy through manufacturing. Manufacturing for who, you might ask? Well, because of how dramatically poor East Germany was compared to West Germany, and because of how close the two were, the East German regime would sell cheaply made goods dispensed from prisoners to popular companies thriving in, one of which being IKEA through intermediaries. Now, one important thing to mention is that it is very possible that many of these companies knew where labor came from, including IKEA. The story, however, muddies when we look at who was directly responsible for contracting suppliers who used these labor camps. And I guess some could say that Ingvar may have been aware of what was going on, seeing that he was the technical head of the company during the 70s and 80s. But in reality, IKEA's corporate ladder did not work like how one might assume. The management, for one, was very decentralized, relying on local subsidiaries and suppliers in various countries, which makes it difficult to figure out who called the shots on what actions. It also had very relaxed policy and virtually no checks and balances, which was admittedly beneficial for quicker business decisions, but absolutely terrible for ethical cohesion. And specifically, proper supplier regulation across the whole business, not taking labor from political prisoners. And with IKEA's business model at the time, which was prioritizing rapid expansion and cost cutting, some areas of the management agreed that forced cheap labor may be best for hitting the quarter's goals. Now, the good thing is that IKEA has fortunately changed how the management works since the 1970s and 80s, but it would be fair to say that one of the reasons they did this is because of this whole labor camp scandal. The issue of IKEA's connection to East German forced labor gained international attention in 2011 with the release of a documentary by Westdeutscher Rundfunk in collaboration with other Swedish investigators that looked into East German labor camps and their connection to Western companies, and alleged that these companies looked past the harsh conditions put on the manufacturers. The documentary absolutely blew up to a proportion where it was widely discussed. So, in response, IKEA commissioned Ernst & Young to pose an independent investigation into their ties to forced labor. And in November of 2012, the findings were published. For one, it was confirmed that indeed some suppliers use forced labor. And second, there are some people in management who were aware of this situation and let the partnership stay intact. Of course, to this information, IKEA released a public apology stating, "We deeply regret that this could have happened," and with the badgering of advocacy groups, IKEA paid a German hardship fund for victims of forced labor under the Stasi regime 6 million euros. While today we look at an isolated case of companies using forced labor and turning a blind eye, this issue of corporate immorality has been around probably forever and will still be an issue after we're gone. Examples, I guess, not involving forced labor but are still disgraceful include the Nike sweatshop scandal in the 90s and the Amazon warehouse conditions still being a problem up to 2022. Overall, it is important to recognize poor working conditions, and to the question of how to solve it, just look behind you.